Hello everybody, welcome to Vigilant Citizen. My name is Josh. As you can see today, I am not outside. That's why it is so dark here. You know, if I take the hat off, then there's a little bit better light. But you know, it's not like this is a perfect recording studio. So I did record a video outside earlier today. I had a very special guest, and we were using one of those lapel mics. You've seen, I've got that lapel mic. Well, I have a two-way so that people can join me in a conversation. And it was the first time trying it, so plugged it into my phone, which I use for recording when I'm outside, and then I tested it and unplugged it so that I could listen to it again, and then I plugged it back in, and apparently it didn't record any sound. So, and you know, it was probably my best video yet. So of course, it didn't capture the sound, so it's lost to the world now until I try to record it again, and I'll see if I can get my special guest back on next time. But so I didn't want to go a week without having anything, so I figured I would just spend some time going through some of the comments on my channel here and finally get around to responding to them. So without any further ado, see if I can switch this over. There I am. I'm up in the corner. Okay. So I filtered it through so that there aren't any, so that it's every single comment and not just the ones that I have not responded to on YouTube. So it's interesting because some of these, look at this, 10 months ago for the right side of history, I went through a period where I started this channel and I did like, 3 or 4. And then I kind of just let it slide for 6 months. I kind of thought about, what am I doing here? And do I really want to do this? And then there was something, I was reading a book or something, and it just kind of struck me like, yeah, I should do this. I got nothing better to do, right? On Sunday afternoons. So, so some of these are pretty old, so I'm sorry I'm just getting to them now. Some of them I have responded to, but let's go through them again. There's not as many, so. Okay, so on the right side of history, and some of these I may not remember exactly my point or some of the details. I didn't go back and rewatch them all, right? Because, look, I already had a video, so I wasn't even going to do this. So I didn't have time to go back and watch them all. Okay, Steph on right side of history says 100% agree. History is so subjective. Right and wrong don't care about what you say your political beliefs are. So more to say, and I did say after you gather your thoughts, I'd be more than happy to chat about it with you. Hey, maybe you can be a special guest and we can use that lapel mic, that double lapel mic, and both of our words can be lost into the annals of the internet void. Let's see. Man up. Jeremy says, insightful, it really is. When someone says man up, especially a guy who was raised in a society without good male role models, that guy is confused and hurting. Using a simple phrase he heard on TV and is likely overcompensating with a male stereotype rather than what it's like to be a responsible, mature, wise, strong man. Great job, Josh. Thanks, Jeremy. I appreciate it. When are you coming on this channel? We should chat. So, no, I appreciate this one. I don't really remember my point in Man Up. I remember it just kind of came to me that morning. I heard it. I don't even know where I heard it, but I had something to say about it. So, no, this is right, though. Somebody's overcompensating with a male stereotype rather than what it's like to be a responsible, mature, wise, strong man. So, and it's too bad. It's too bad. I hear this happens a lot in the South. It's kind of a stereotype. Nobody wants to be vulnerable. And maybe that's a stereotype too. So that's one of the areas I need to visit is the Deep South. I haven't really experienced it to its full grandeur. So one day I'm going to make my way down there. Maybe I'll see if the men all want to beat me up. Okay, the right side of history. Jeremy says great perspective, and I like this. He's quoting people who might say something like this in the future. Those meat eaters tear down their statues. So spot on analysis. It's a term to manipulate people and to identify one's dissenters. Very insightful, Jeremy. I like that. It's a term to manipulate people. Always enjoyed the term presentist, the tendency to manipulate history to forward and support a current agenda, i.e. the witchcraft persecutions being cited as a way to promote and support the present-day feminist womanist movement. It's a word that's probably a no-no on YouTube. No historic documentation that women were persecuted and executed any more than men were. That's true. That's true. Even in Salem, they call it the Salem witch trials, right? But there were probably just as many men. There was that one guy, who was it? Giles Corey, who was crushed to death with rocks. His last words were "more weight." So, good point, Jeremy. This also kind of goes into the women are wonderful fallacy, where we typically believe that women are wonderful and incapable of doing any wrong, and so that's why you get things like the Salem witch trials, even though men were affected as much. Look, nobody cares about men. And I'm not saying that to be, not because I believe it, or that I don't care, but just look at our society today. It is not set up to really support men. Men suffer the most suicides. Men are more likely to get murdered. Men are more likely to be incarcerated. Maybe they deserve it. Maybe they don't. Men are more likely to be sewer treatment facility workers, garbage truck collectors, doing all the dirty jobs that the women just won't do, right? So is that really fair? Men are more likely to lose custody in divorce courts and to lose everything in divorce courts, and they're more likely to get divorced. Women initiate, 75 to 80% of all divorces. So good point, Jeremy. Okay, Adam, you got to fix the name of your channel here. It says Gambit 76 apostrophe game room. I think you want it to be Gambit 76's. Maybe not. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. Okay, talking about the right side of history. I think we've talked about this. And first, I'd like to say, right, wrong, I'm the guy with the gun. Yeah, good point. Excuse me, delves into our current society. People have an opinion, and if you don't agree, you're wrong. Not only are you wrong, but you are evil for thinking that way. No, you're right about that. It's unfortunate, but that's how a lot of people react. If you watch Leah Remini, Scientology and the Aftermath, this is what Scientology teaches. If you don't agree with the church, you're an enemy and must be shunned and destroyed utterly. Oh, this is a long comment, bro. Let me see. Let me kind of skim it and see if I can get the points. If their mind changes, then they're going from good to evil, so they can't risk it. The truth is, if your opinion is valid, it should stand up to any other or all other thoughts or lines of logic. Yeah. Well. The weak-minded have such a narrow view that they can't take into a picture of the whole and need to cancel out everything. That's a good point. I like that. And I think, look at where we are today. We got a lot of weak people in charge, right? And so they're canceling anybody who disagrees with them. So tonight's video is brought to you by tea, Earl Grey, hot. Let's see. Only pizza is good. If you eat anything else, you're evil. Good point. I've had a lot of people try to murder me because I don't like the same kind of pizza. Why would you put stuff like pineapple on pizza? Okay. I could write and speak for days, but I think I'll just cut it off there. Thanks. Okay, and then Adam's complaining about, hey, it still says 3 comments. What happened to the other comment? I think it's still there. I think sometimes YouTube just doesn't show the full numbers yet. I had a blue moon on Lose Gracefully. Are we losing gracefully? Can't be calling me if they take $8 for a beer. Sounds very capitalistic to me. Well, here's the thing, though. You can be a champagne socialist or a champagne communist, right? So you can enjoy all the benefits of capitalism and private ownership and free market economies and then claim that you're a socialist. I saw a post today where somebody on, it was Twitter or something, or Facebook, some social media site, where they were holding a cat and they said something like, cats are the best friends of socialists. And then next to it was a headline from Venezuela where they're saying that they're eating cats. They're eating their pets now. So it's easy to be a socialist or a communist when you're benefiting from capitalism and from a free market economy. Steph, game night? Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Give me a roll. Zach, I love video games. So there. Oh, you got me. So there, you got me. Let's see. You have influence, Jeremy says. The message of do your best and set a good example is a positive message and definitely one we need to hear more of these days. I agree. Jason, word. Thanks, Jason, on why I don't use social media. Lessons from the Lion King. This one was a fun video for me, just because, I don't know, it just kind of came out of nowhere. I've been watching The Lion King since I was a child, and it was my favorite movie growing up, but I didn't really see all the lessons, and now as an adult, I'm like, that has some really good lessons in there about taking your responsibility seriously. So excellent point about self-realization. What was it? I said something about, when Scar basically put him on trial and he had to overcome his own self-doubt. You have to know yourself before you can fully become what you're meant to be, and facing your demons is one of the core aspects of coming to know oneself. I don't think it's a finite process. Things continually change. Yeah. Wow, Steph, you're an existentialist. That's not an insult either. Jeremy says, great interpretation of the movie. I remember watching Clueless and Bruce Almighty years after each came out, realizing they had good messages that I liked and believed in. I remember feeling the same way about Mean Girls. I saw that later, and I was like, okay, this actually has a pretty good message. Being honest with ourselves, realizing our weaknesses and mistakes. It's cleansing and purifying, empowering, provides a sense of clean slate, tabula rasa, and fresh start. That is powerful. That's when we can best deal with the forces of evil around us, as we needn't put any energy into hiding our own issues. Very, very astute. Good point. All energy and resources can be allocated to the struggle or good fight. I like that. You know, what I was talking about today in the video that will never be seen, well, it could be seen, it just won't be heard, was something about know your convictions. Have conviction, know your principles and your values so that you know what you can fight for and what you could die for. So this kind of reminds me of that. So we'll talk about that later, I guess, again. Bringing the hyenas in is very symbolic. Yeah, I thought this one was interesting. Yeah, the sheer numbers of voices, plots, and leverages against us can be overwhelming, and they know it. Yeah, they'll rush us for a complete kill when they sense weakness. I thought that was interesting about the Lion King, what the hyenas represented. They disrupt, deceive, and then destroy. They like it. They're most happy feeding on corpses and thriving amongst filth and death. Jeremy, nobody has a way with words like you do, sir. This is when I was still putting video game videos on here. Zach says, now I remember why I stopped playing this game. You shouldn't stop playing. It's a great game. It's one of the best games ever made. Okay, don't live in fear, Steph says. I think one of the reasons for the number is, I think she's talking about the number of people who said they couldn't take on a rat or a cat or something like that. People can't seem to separate the sentiment. So not wanting to hurt a house cat versus if they could actually do it if they were attacking. So, I mean, that's a good point, but that also suggests that they can't put themselves in the shoes of somebody who's in danger and needs to defend themselves. So, I mean, that's a problem, right? So if you can't separate the sentiment of kicking a cat that's trying to murder you, right? I mean, it's just a hypothetical, and I get it, but it also shows maybe a lack of imagination there. So I guess if what you're saying is true on that, it reveals another problem too, though, right? So... and then Adam is also saying maybe they were trolls, people who were trolling the polls. I mean, possibly. Everything up to a wolf. Yes, punch or kick it. Adam thinks he could take a lone wolf. I'd pay to see that. A croc, tough to beat. You don't want to mess with a croc in the water or on land. Trust me, they move fast. Those suckers are fast. Don't be afraid to speak out against things you don't agree with. Yes, I agree. However, you want to be shrewd in this area. You want to make sure that you speak out against things you don't agree with at the proper time and in the proper manner, because you can make things worse if you don't, right? So, Mr. Hardy Har Har says, the only animal I fear is my wife. That's pretty good. Thanks, Steph. Congrats on 50 subscribers. Yeah, I think I lost 2. Oh, and then she was going to say a sarcastic reply, all typed out. Didn't want to cause you an issue. Wow, good job. Thanks. Hail Lobster. Happy Father's Day. Hail Lobster. I like Adam's comment here. Slightly different slant on winning gracefully. Maybe this is different, or maybe this is what you were talking about. I think it's the same thing as being a good sport. It means shaking hands and not throwing your win in others' faces. Yeah, I think we were on the same page there. I was adding on to it that you should be thankful for those people around you who have supported you to help you win. I was thinking about this earlier today. How is that different from Obama's "you didn't build that" line, right? Which I think is just one of the worst things you could say. And I think the difference here is he believes that your ideas are a social construct or a community construct or something like that. Whereas, in my opinion, and I stand firmly onto this. I'll fight you to the death if you disagree with me on this. But but your ideas are your ideas. There's the concept of intellectual property. So you built a business or you for example, right? Because that's what he was talking about. And I know I'm going a little off track here, but you had the idea for that successful business, and it wasn't without the support of your friends and your family that you couldn't do it. But it wasn't a collective idea from your friends and your family. So it's quite a bit different there. So, Adam, we're on kind of the same page. I completely agree with what you've said here. Winning gracefully means shaking hands, not throwing your win in others' faces. Yeah, win humbly. Be humble when you win, right? You're going to lose again in the future, so you may as well not parade it around. I mean, if you win a Super Bowl or something, I get it. Have a parade, have a party, celebrate. That's cool. But yeah, not throwing it in other people's faces, and on top of it, acknowledge that maybe you didn't get there completely by yourself. So, sorry, I rambled a bit on that one. Steph, would you have listened as a teenager, knowing what I know now? I don't know if I would have listened as a late teen, early 20... ... This is on Own Your Mistakes. I don't know. It's too late to say, right? Maybe. Depends on who was saying it and what was being said, I suppose. So, a lot of things, maybe not. You have to be demonstrated stuff when you're a teenager to really understand it. Yeah, and I thought it was King George. Yes, it was. I'm in the spirit of owning my mistake. See, this is how I started my video earlier today, was owning my mistake here. What did I say? Like King Fred? King Gunther? No, I don't even remember what I said. But I said King John. Yes, you are correct. It is King George. That was just a slip. That was just a mistake. King George the Third? King George Jr.? Double Jr.? All right, last one. From Jeremy. Owning our mistakes is a sign of maturity and a milestone in our path toward wisdom. I think most people know when someone is fibbing or deflecting about an error and are looked upon with disappointment and disdain. Yes, I would completely agree. People know when you're lying. People know when you're making stuff up, right? We've grown up around people. We can spot a liar unless they're really skilled at it. Owning our mistakes is refreshing to the person who made the error and also makes others feel as though the environment being fostered is safe and honest. Don't withhold your competence to reveal the incompetence of others. That guy is a smart guy. Yes, he is. He should join me for a conversation on this channel one day. But I agree with that. I've thought about this. I've worked with some people of Asian descent, and there is definitely a different cultural kind of norm there. It does seem like Asian cultures they're not as, they want to be perfect. They feel shame when they make a mistake. And here in the U.S., we are very, forgiving isn't even the right word. We're just more tolerant, I suppose, tolerant of mistakes. And I think that's a good thing because we're humans and we're fallible. And as long as we're making honest mistakes, those are the mistakes you want to make, right? That's what I said in Own Your Mistakes too, right? I went over this. Yeah, you want to make honest mistakes. Don't be a jerk. Don't make mistakes that you're really going to regret. Make mistakes that are honest and learn from them. I've had some people in different cultures or who have different upbringings who see it differently, and man, they're so hard on themselves. And I mean, I get it, but I'm not going to say this is better or worse. It's better for me. Maybe I will say it's better. I do think it's better because it fits better with humans. We're fallible. We make mistakes. We can't be perfect all the time. So don't expect it. And if you expect it of other people, I mean, come on. That's not fair. So, all right, everybody. Well, thanks for all the great comments. And, yeah, if if any of those of you who know me pretty well, if you want to jump on and have a further dig deeper into some of these conversations, let's do it. I'm happy to do it, and we can get on Zoom or something, or try my double lapel thing that works maybe sometimes. Okay, so I have that other channel, that gaming channel, so make sure you check that out. My buddy Blake is having me play a game that is making me want to tear the rest of my hair out. Maybe I lost it because of him. But go check that out. I'll link to his... I've been linking to his channel as well if you want to check his game stuff out. But other than that, thanks for your time. Thanks for the great conversation, and see you next week if everything goes well.